Hello, lovelies. Hi. I've been trying to keep up with all these recordings, and since I have kiddos, I try. It doesn't always happen. So, I will be reading August 22nd, readings from Hope for Today, Courage to Change, and One Day at a Time. So, let's turn to August 22nd. August. And that is on page 235. This one is from Hope for Today. When I came to Al-Anon, I was waiting for instruction on something I badly needed. I wanted to know how to become an adult with sound values, self-respect, and self-esteem. I sought this lesson from everybody: my parents, employers, spouses, children, friends, etc. Everybody except my higher power and myself. After attending meetings and listening to others share, one much needed change became perfectly clear. I had to stop sabotaging myself by looking on the outside for something that exists only within. Trying to find self-respect and self-esteem from inside felt like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and I didn't have a rabbit or a hat. I'm sorry, you all, for the background noise. Okay, where was I? Trying to find self-respect and self-esteem from inside felt like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and I didn't have a rabbit or a hat. Growing up, unavailable alcoholic parents left some gaping holes in my childhood development. I couldn't figure out how I was going to fill myself with characteristics I had never seen in my home. Al-Anon has repaired those holes by giving me tools to develop the qualities I desire and by showing me healthy people who already possess them. The program offers me sound, healthy guidelines, values for life. As I let go and trust God to work things out without forcing my will, I become more mature. As I take responsibility for myself by making amends, I grow in my self-esteem. As I conduct my social behavior according to the traditions, I develop self-respect. Working my program helps me become the adult I always dreamed of being. Thought for today. 4 things are true for me. I have needs. I have parents. Sometimes my parents can't fulfill my needs. I can get my needs met elsewhere. Quote, with help, we can develop a new sense of living as we become, one day at a time, the people we want to be. And that's from Al-Anon Sharings from Adult Children, page 6. Okay, so I really like this reading because it really put things into perspective, and I can really relate to this. I like how it said, I wanted to know how to become an adult with sound values, self-respect, and self-esteem, and then I sought that lesson from everybody, my parents, employers, spouses, basically everybody that's outside. And so for me, that defines my own codependency. I can relate to this in that way. I can't relate to everything this entry said for today, but I could relate with a lot of it. And yeah, that I definitely sought respect and sought to be put in my place and to have somebody tell me who I am and what I should do and how I should act and what my attitude should be, when in reality, all along it was in me. All I needed was a little truth in my heart, and all I needed was to find the truth in my own heart. And I'm enough. I am enough. I have enough. I didn't need to seek satisfaction from outside of me. I got into that really deep relationship with myself and with my higher power. And so, yeah, that's what I have there. And then next reading is from Courage to Change, August 22nd, page 235. 235. All right, Courage to Change. Here it goes. My Al-Anon recovery involves becoming aware of what motivates my choices. I was appalled to discover that fear ruled my life. I seemed to be afraid of everything. I was afraid to say no, to show hurt or anger, or to be confused. With clenched teeth and a painted-on smile, I'd say, "Oh no, everything's okay," while thinking, "There'll come a day when I'll get even." Even that scared me because I was afraid of my own anger. Many of my Al-Anon friends use the slogans to deal with their fears. But when fear engulfed me, all I could think of was, quote, "came to believe." I couldn't finish the rest of the second step, but that one phrase was enough. So when the telephone rang and I was startled and beginning to imagine the worst, I would take a deep breath and say to myself, "came to believe." Then it became possible to pick up the phone, and I always hung up feeling so much lighter because we had handled it. Today's reminder: before taking any action, I need only remind myself that I am in the care of a higher power. Whether the words I use say "help," or "let go and let God," or "came to believe," I know that my higher power and I can deal with whatever we are facing. Quote from Al-Anon, A Day at a Time. We turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understand Him. A higher power is like a friend who really cares about us and wants to share our problems. So that is the reading from Courage to Change. I like this part because I like "came to believe" part. I like how that phrase really put things in perspective for me on this second step phrase. And sometimes that really helps with taking courage and just jumping. Such as for when I'm in my career, for example, I can relate to that because somebody asked me to fill in for somebody else's position. And you know what? I didn't think I was good enough. And so that phrase "came to believe," even without saying the rest of that second step, which, if I can read fully, step 2 says, "came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity." So even if I didn't think that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, came to believe is a really good start. That's all you need. I just feel like that power will meet me where I'm at and will accept me where I am, and it's very gentle. It doesn't force me to believe in anything. It doesn't force me to, for example, if I was an atheist, it doesn't force me to actually believe in higher power. It just came to believe, and that's enough. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I really like that part. And it just helps in, taking it one moment by moment. One of Al-Anon's slogans say, one day at a time, and sometimes members take that to one moment at a time. And also some of the other slogans are progress, not perfection, and another one is easy does it. So it really stresses gentleness and kindness to self. Gentle with self, kindness to self, basically giving self grace. And if you look up the word grace in a dictionary, it'll really put things into full perspective. So enough for that. Moving on to One Day at a Time, page 235. I usually have the pages turned where I'm supposed to read them, but my schedule's been full. And here it goes. Excuse me. One Day at a Time, August 22nd. If a sharp thorn or a splinter pierces my hand, what do? I remove it as quickly as I can. Surely I wouldn't leave it there, hurting me, until it festered and sent its infection throughout my body. Yet what do I do with the thorns of resentment and hatred when they pierce my thoughts? Do I leave them there and watch them grow? Will I suffer increasingly from the pain? True, resentment and hatred are more difficult to pull out of our thoughts than the physical thorn from a finger, but so much depends upon it that I will do my best to eliminate them before their poison can spread. Today's reminder: if I really do not want to be hurt, and if I am sure that self-pity isn't giving me a certain secret satisfaction. Whoa, that was a tongue twister. I'll read that one again. If I really do not want to be hurt, and if I am sure that self-pity is not giving me a certain secret satisfaction, I will take all the steps necessary to free my mind from painful thoughts and emotions. The best way to do this is not by grimly exerting willpower, but by replacing those hurting ideas with thoughts of love and gratitude. Wow. There's a quote: "Thou hast not half the power to do me harm, as I have to be hurt." From William Shakespeare, Othello. Oh, I like how they have these little quotes in the bottom. So, that last part, all of this is super good. Wow. Alright, I'm going to comment on this reading. So, a lot of people in the program, well, right now I have the right to just take responsibility, right, for self is really stressed in the program. And not referring to Al-Anon as a whole because everybody has different experiences, but a lot of this I could really relate to. Self-pity. Sometimes I tend to hold on to self-pity without even realizing it, oh, poor me, I'm not where I want to be in life. Poor me, I tend to do that comparison and holding on to that thorn, keeping that resentment and hatred. Well, I think I've worked the steps enough to know that I'm not as that thorn isn't as stuck in me as it was before program. Let me just say that. So I think I've done some work on that part, that I feel the sense of peace. I know when I used to have more resentment and a lot more hatred, I would talk faster. I would be like on panic mode. I would have a little bit more symptoms of PTSD basically. And the fact that I can talk slower and be more calmer is really a good evidence that I've been working the program. I've been going to meetings. I've been talking to actually not one but multiple sponsors from different programs. And I really like this. I love this reading. It's really a feel-good reading for me. And Yeah, I like that. The last sentence, it says, the best way to do this is not by grimly exerting willpower, but by replace those hurting ideas, replace them with thoughts of love and gratitude. So in the program, we talk a lot about detachment, detaching with love. And so that's another whole concept. And wow. Today I went to a meeting and one member shared so much gratitude, so much gratitude. As human beings, we all take so much for granted. I mean, having 10 fingers and 10 toes, having dry socks, for example, or dry underwear, because there are instances when you really don't have dry socks and you really want dry socks. I don't know, or underwear. What if you sat on something and it's so embarrassing? And I don't know, it's just a lot of deep concepts that's not very appreciated in common life, especially when there's a lot of resentment, hurt, and self-pity and fear and all that. This is amazing. I love these readings for today. Well, thank you. I've talked enough. And if you like any of these readings, I'm going to do my best to record every day. Sometimes I just don't get to it. Please hit subscribe right there. And again, Al-Anon is an anonymous organization. And we stay away from gossip, and it's a very non-profit organization. Yeah, if this really helps you, please go to meetings. Go to as many meetings as you can possibly go. And go get a sponsor. I really recommend it. And if alcohol is not your main problem, I strongly suggest checking out other 12-step meetings, Googling 12-step meetings. Oh my goodness, there are a ton of them. Okay, this recording is getting way too long. Please comment if you want if you want me to talk about a certain topic or how I can improve. I am new to this YouTubing, blogging thing, so I'm sure I'm still trying to learn a lot more on how to blog more effectively, and this is a start, really. I have a lot of passions, so this is a really good start. So thank you and God bless. Subscribe!